The Dirties poses as a found footage documentary about two high school students who are film fanatics and get very severely bullied by the others in their school. And they start to make a movie about them enacting a kind of revenge fantasy against the people that bully them. And then as the story evolves, the lines between sort of their fictitious revenge fantasy and actual violent planning and retaliation, it all gets blurred.
Where we shot in a lot of real world locations. So we shot in real working high schools, for example, and we shot in real scenarios. So for a lot of times the camera is really just trying to be a documentary camera, trying to capture the action, but also trying to hide, because within the film, they're shooting their lives. The two main characters are shooting their lives. So they're just in and amongst living, breathing high schools. And if we had a camera kind of sticking in their face and a guy with a boom in the corner, it would completely ruin the reality of it, but it would also ruin their ability to be dramatically part of the real world. Because a lot of the people in the film, until after when we had to, explain that they were, listen guys, you were just on camera and we need to get clearances. Until then, they had no idea that these were two actors. And so for the camera, it really was just like hide in such a way where you can't be seen. And in doing that, you get really interesting shooting.
We knew what had to happen in each scene, so we didn't have we didn't know how we were going to get to that point, but we knew what each scene had to achieve.
That's where it's kind of had to start and end.
Yeah, and so we'd end up just shooting hours upon hours of non-repetitive footage. It wasn't like when you do a normal movie where you're doing take one, take two, take three of the same lines. This was like one take, a 2-hour take of just completely inspired, nonsense. Eventually reaching the point of the scene. And so in that sense, a lot of the actual writing and refinement of the script was actually during the editing, as we were sort of scouring through these hours of footage and finding a way to create the movie from within the mass, because we just had hundreds of hours.
The other hilarious thing is Matt, the director, is the star of the movie, so he would be on camera, in character, just going off on wild tangents, and it was always like, that's where we were so lucky to have Evan in the room, who was the one who sort of had the bigger picture in his head, so he could be like, we'd be just off on the moon, basically. Completely wrong track, the scene heading in a totally different direction.
Awesome, yeah.
And you have to, and Matt would be trying to mess with us too, because he knows we want to get to the end of the scene, but if he wasn't happy about something, he'd be kind of redirecting it within the scene, just to send it off in a bizarre direction, just to keep everyone kind of on their toes.
So much of this movie was just for the four of us, four friends, messing around in my parents' basement where we shot a lot of it. And so as a result, yeah, it was at times very difficult to focus.
But that's where Evan would kind of come and be like, wait guys, no, this is not, the scene has to end with Owen storming out. You can't go down this weird road.
It's because Jared and I were also holding the heavy cameras, and so we were every time that it derailed into nonsense, we would feel it in our backs and start to cry. And so yeah, there were two teams. There was basically me and Jared versus Matt and Owen, who were the actors and the director, because we just wanted to get the scenes done, and they just wanted to keep fucking around and keep it going.
Which is great, because you see that on camera. A lot of it just feels like two guys fucking around.
Yeah, it helps the atmosphere in the end, for sure.
Yeah.